Connection with Shade Network activated. Audio file download commencing. Files marked extremely sensitive. Strategic Homeland Division only. Agent, commencing transmission.
What's up, agents? You listen to episode 176 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of the Division 2. This week we're discussing the big revamp that weapons and gear will be going through in Title Update 6, coming very soon. But first, my name is Mike, and joining me as always are my co-hosts Robert.
Hello.
And Luke.
Hi.
Hope you guys and our listeners have had a great week, and welcome to any new listeners of the show. Welcome back to another week, boys.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
You completely threw me off then. Yeah, we've been kind of back playing the Division. We jumped on the PTS last week. There's been a few changes which we're going to go over today. Any thoughts, obviously following on from a bit of a dire state of the game last week with regards to PvP, Roberts?
No thoughts whatsoever.
Perfect. Luke, any thoughts on the PTS from what you actually played after last week's PvP stream?
I wasn't wrong.
What? It's not changed anything at all?
No, still sucks. That's pretty much all I want to talk about PvP wise today. It just gets me angry. So
okay.
Snipers are strong. There you go. There's a thought.
Yeah, I can contest that because I one-shot one dude several times in the dark zone and he was not happy about it with an M700. I've been in the dark zone several times this week. I can confirm I've seen a total, since I played with you guys on the PTS, was it Wednesday or Thursday night last week? We came across two other teams. Thursday, was it? We came across two other teams, I believe.
There's just loads of randoms, wasn't it? I don't remember playing against teams. Or maybe there was a couple of duos.
Something like that.
there was a 4-stack once.
Was there?
They had very, very similar usernames, didn't they? If you remember, they turned up after a while. They weren't there to start with when we first started PvPing.
But yeah, we went and I don't think our builds were basically optimized for PvP because we just basically jumped into the PTS. Obviously, people have been mucking around with builds all day, as we found out, and there's some insane builds being put together.
Mm-hmm.
It was to be honest, it kind of felt like old Division. The fact, we're outside a checkpoint and trying to kill each other. So from that point of view, not much really changed. And then I know you guys haven't had a chance to jump in because you've been doing other stuff. So I was in there playing the Dark Zone over the past few days just to kind of get a bit of a feel for it. I'll say this, and I'll probably get ripped for this, and even Rob said it, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. The PvE in the Dark Zone is really good.
They made it harder, didn't they?
I'll say this.
You were struggling.
The Black Tusk NPCs in the Occupied DZ are no joke.
Yeah, but when was the last time you went in there solo? Never.
To quote Creed, it's been a while.
Because they've always been pretty tough on their own.
I don't think it's been that tough. Holy fuck, my armor was basically being one shot by a drone. A fucking drone, for fuck's sake. So
OP.
Yeah. It definitely made it more challenging, but it kind of felt like back in the days when we'd go up to the Q building in the Division 1 TU6, not TU6, DZ6, not TU6. Getting all the letters and numbers mixed up today.
Now you've admitted that you fucked that up, can you just remind me which band it was that sang It's Been a While?
Stained.
You said, right, okay.
Sorry.
What did you stain?
Stained.
Your pants.
To be honest, I'm a bit worried about the servers because I haven't seen more than one player in a dark zone.
So yeah, but the new matchmaking isn't in play, is it?
Is it not?
No, don't think so.
I would have assumed it was supposed to have been tested, but
No, I was watching someone stream and they said that it's not been implemented in the PTS.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's not the only matchmaking that's not been implemented. How many times did we try to jump into elimination? Hey, let's go test the brand new PvP game mode for the Division 2.
Yeah, I'd like to give an opinion on that.
But I can't because I didn't get into the fucking matchmaking system for it.
It tells you quite a lot without really telling you anything at all, doesn't it? It's like, let's go and try the new PvP mode. Oh, no, we can't because nobody wants to play it.
Well, there is that, but even Rob, you said you were watching Wids this week.
He said he queued to get into the PTS, but then couldn't find a game of conflict. Strange, right?
Yeah, that kind of sucks. So I didn't get a chance to try that out. But the build I was running was I was using 3 of the new talents on gear that you can find when TU6 drops. But yeah, that's like kind of my thoughts on the PvP side of it. Right. I only really went in the occupied zone. It was definitely more challenging. I came across ambush several times. Like you get a chopper come in and then Black Tusk NPCs drop down, which is pretty cool. And they're pretty difficult. That's about it. But yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty good. I'm looking forward to farming that when it drops, to be honest. Be something a bit different, and hopefully that'll create a bit more conflict. Anyway, enough about PvP. Let's move on. Before we go, Rasmus from the crafting team at the division. It's his last week this week on the division. He says he's been there for about 4 years, and he's off to new adventures. So best of luck from all 3 of us here at SITREP Radio, and thank you for your time and all the rest of it, and appreciate you. Thank you very much, and good luck for the future.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get on to today's state of the game and huge discussion and all the rest of it, where are we going this weekend, boys?
I don't know. Where are we going?
Well, you don't know because you don't listen to anything till like, a day before?
I'm going to wake up Friday morning and remember he's got something to do when he comes home from work.
Have you got your passport ready, Rob?
What? Why do I need my passport?
Because you're going to Bristol.
That's in the same country, dude.
You sounded like Shaggy then from Scooby-Doo.
Ooh.
I don't know, Scoob. Yes, we'll be in Bristol. What is it? Friday the 27th of September to Monday the 30th. So if you're about in Bristol or nearby, locally, give us a message on Twitter or something and come join us for a pint.
Yeah, come and buy his beer.
Yeah.
Or that. Anyway, that's enough about shit we've been up to this week. Let's get down to the state of the game.
State of the game.
Okay, so I pretty much said it at the opening, but after last week's state of the game discussing PvP, we had patch notes drop for the second wave of the PTS, which brought about some huge changes to what we know of gear and weapons in the live game. This week on the State of the Game, Fredrick Thylander was joined by Hamish to discuss a lot of these changes being brought on very soon. The PTS ends next Tuesday, I believe, and they reckon by the time the current event for apparel ends, we should have TU6 with all these changes and new fucking content. Let's go.
When does the apparel event end?
About 14 days or 13 days.
Sweet.
So we're talking around about the 15th, I reckon. 15th of October. So we're about 3 weeks away. 3 weeks and we'll be back running some sweet content.
Cool.
Which gives, hopefully, Rob enough time to do what?
Get Shadowkeep out of my system.
Cool.
When does that drop?
The 1st.
You'll be done and dusted by then. I wouldn't worry about it, Luke. You know what he's like. Put it in my veins.
How much time have you got booked off work, Rob?
None.
How much time are you allocating to working from home?
I haven't discussed that with my manager yet.
How many sick days have you got left this year?
I don't know. I don't think it works like that, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter from where you work anyway, does it? Anyway, they basically discussed that the goal of TU6 was to basically rebalance the game across all of it instead of just changing, for example, some weapons and some talents and other stuff. So this is probably the biggest thing that they've done in a long time to the game. It probably akin to a 1.4 overhaul from the Division 1, except this time we're not getting any changes to stat rolls or anything like that, which I'm still very surprised that we're not getting, but Thylander did kind of explain why this wasn't happening. It was probably due to the understanding of gear quality and the stat rolls, I believe, Rob.
Yeah.
Can you explain
What can I...
why that was? Why gear score is not equivalent to the stats that you get dropped on the gear pieces?
Because all pieces have different amount of stats that drop on them, and they're all part of the pie, as they call it, or the pizza. So if you've got high armor, you're going to have low stats. If you've got like 5 stats on one, they're all going to be shared, so they'll be lower than if you had 2 or 1.
Yeah. But it's kind of like, I think a lot of people are thinking along the lines of like the Division 1 system, where it's like, oh, we had a 490 gear piece, and that had lesser stat rolls than a 500 piece. I think that's what's making it very difficult to understand. I'm kind of hoping that the UI system changes that they've been working on are going to reflect that. And yeah, apparently they've been working hard to make it more transparent and easier to understand. As we've seen, like with the recalibration station, that thing is just so much easier to use nowadays. Talent changes. Luke, I'm going to go to you on this one because we were like, holy shit. Because this is a kind of a big topic in the community at the minute. Talent stacking is no longer going to be a thing in TU6.
Absolutely correct.
How do you feel about that, seeing as the community, as usual, have kind of lost their shit?
I like it. I think it's a great change. You know,
but why?
Well, instead of, like, for everybody's raid, well, sorry, not everybody's raid build, for my raid build, and quite a few other people's raid builds, it was literally get as much hard hitting on there as you can, get the highest hard damage to elites mask you can find, stack damage to elites on your weapon attachments, and boot up the raid.
Yeah.
From what I understand from certain PTS streams, the damage to elites rolls on masks have been increased. I don't think the mods have increased. Hard hitting itself has had a buff from 10% to 25%, but that's it. If you've got hard hitting on one piece of gear, it's no longer unlocked on other pieces of gear. So it's like a dead talent once you've had it once.
I'm pretty sure we worked out though that you can still get a decent amount of damage to elites, though, can't you?
Yeah, I can't remember what the values were because it was solid stream, wasn't it? But
yeah, it was like close to 50%, I think, on a mask, if not higher.
I think it was over, to be honest. I don't know why, but I've got 56% in my head.
Yeah, the max used to be 55, but I think someone got 56, didn't they? So they may have increased that to like maybe 60.
I don't even know what the max I've got. Maybe 43%. I've not seen anything up near 50% at all. But I mean, even if you get like a max roll and then you're using hard hitting, you're still close to like 60-70% DTE. But it's really opening your build to use other talents. You know, there's you've got the new talent. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head now.
Concussion.
No, composure. Whilst in cover, you're going to get 10% total weapon damage. Yeah, you have to stack into 11 offensive attributes to gain it, but that's now an option, and that's just. I'm kind of thinking if we were doing Buddy and Lucy, that straight away would be a decent talent to use for the raid. I'm not saying it's going to be decent outside of that, but it's just an example of like the other talents that are going to be available for you to use. And Rob, do you think the changes to this are actually going to make builds more diverse or not?
It's definitely going to be more diverse because you can't lean into one stat. So you have to kind of have everything to make it just as strong.
I kind of like what they say as well, is the fact that they were trying to make the game more fun. Even Thylander kind of laughed at this, but like, it is a huge point. If the game's not fun to play and you're just running cookie cutter builds, it's not. What I can't remember if it was Luke that said it or someone else, but when you're in a game where you're just literally shooting and that's it. That's literally all you're doing. But now you're getting a buff from dodging damage, getting into cover, and all like spotter. You're using your pulse to gain, like having those kind of talents that kind of make you work for what they do, opposed to just flat damage, is a bit more interesting gameplay wise.
Making it fun was one of my main arguments last week about PvP.
Yeah.
So,
but this is one of the things I think we'll probably see factor into PvP, because we're going to see some weird ass. I'm hoping we're going to see some weird ass builds come out of this, and you're going to come across someone in the dark zone and you'll be like, "What the fuck did he just do?" Do you know what I mean? And then you'll be like, "How the fuck did he just put me down?" You open up and you look at his build and you're like, "Holy shit!" Like he's got Wicked and I don't know, maybe 4-piece ongoing directive, which ends up creating like a. I've seen Predator 2.0 style build.
Yeah,
makes
can't
you bleed.
stack hardened anymore, which means you can't get a ton of armor. But then there are percentage rolls on the armor, isn't there? Which I think should be removed from the game. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, we've been in the dark zone. I've been in the dark zone on my own this week, and the maximum armor that I saw in the dark zone on the PTS was up to 497k. Everything was stacked into armor on every single piece, pretty much, and maybe health.
And he could still one shot you with a sniper.
And he could shotgun.
That's even
and
worse, dude.
That's even worse. Especially with the change coming to shotguns, which isn't on the PTS, which I can't remember. No, we didn't talk about, but I know we were kind of like messaging each other in chat going, "Holy shit, look, they've made this change to shotguns. The shotguns are now going to cause damage to armor instead of having melee damage." I don't know how either of you guys feel about that change, but that's a huge change.
Well, I guess if the meta is going to be loads of armor, that's kind of a good thing. It's just gonna be
definitely.
battles.
But it's just going to be people running around with 500k armor and shotguns or sniper rifles. I'm kind of scared.
Damage to armor mods everywhere.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. They've actually got damage to armor mods. Was that a thing before?
Yes,
it was.
Yeah,
because I've never
definitely.
picked any up. Okay, that's fine. I know me and Luke were discussing it, and I was like, "Luke, have we seen these mods before?"
I'd never seen a damage to armor mod, but it makes sense that they were there because I've definitely got some damage to health mods in the live game. So it makes sense that you would have the other one if you've got one of them already.
I think the value was that low. Maybe I've just deleted them in the
Yeah,
past.
it's not
because
high.
the-
It's like 2% or something.
Yeah, I've literally got one. I got a whole load of 1% mods. I was like, I'll grab them because I need it to kind of complete the build that I put together on the PTS. But yeah, obviously that is a huge change just in itself, and they've gone over why they did that. But the other thing as well is they've literally gone over every single talent. You can go check out the patch notes at the minute, and they're far from final, but they've basically adjusted every single talent in the game, I believe. Rob? It was either
Not
adjusted
every
or
single one.
kind of remade or made them easier to use, I believe.
A lot of them have been buffed,
Yeah.
but some of them like haven't been unchanged for PvE.
That was the thing I was proud of them for. They've started balancing a lot of talent for PvE and PvP, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think the other thing as well, with regards to
Well, they have
the
to
change.
because of the normalization being removed, right?
Well, yeah, that's going to be a big thing
Well,
going
yeah,
forward.
but they
now.
could have done what their normal argument was, and no, we're not going to. At least they've tried to think about it for a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think the one thing that people were worried about, and there seems to be a conversation that every time we get a PTS and everyone kind of whinges about, is like, oh, great, Massive are at it again. They're nerfing everything. And
Massive
I think
nerfs.
Massive nerfs seems to be the top headline on Reddit or whatever. And I think today is the first, it might actually be the first time. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me just being oblivious. But I really felt that for TU6 that they've tried to, instead of like nerfing everything, they've made a huge conscientious effort to try and bring everything kind of in line, but not nerf it. They've tried to buff it, like buff all the weapons to the maximum damage. Like they put a graph up with regards to weapon balancing today, and one of the graphs was for the LMGs, and like the M60 was the outlier. And you put the two graphs over each other, what they've done is bring all the other LMGs practically in line with the M60. So all the other ones are viable now, which I think is really good. And, we'll see how that kind of goes.
That's definitely how it should be, though. You shouldn't have just one weapon that's best in slot for each archetype. So, we all knew the P416 was the best AR for anybody who doesn't have the Eagle Bearer. It's obviously pretty obvious from what you've just said. The M60 was the best LMG in the game. Why should you have all these weapons if you're only going to use one from each archetype? Do you know what I mean? It's
Now you get to
shitty.
play whatever you prefer.
Exactly.
Well, this is... I don't know about you guys, but it kind of feels like, unfortunately, we're back at square one again, which is obviously something they talked about today. They're sorry that everyone's kind of, you've worked hard on all your builds and that, but they had to make a decision, like, do we do it now or do we do it later on doing this huge rebalancing pass? And it is kind of sad to some degree that we have to kind of go back to our builds and go, okay, this doesn't work anymore. I need to refresh it. But doesn't that make it a bit more interesting than obviously running the cookie cutter builds, as we said? But then the one thing that we wanted, I remember in our conversations months ago, was like, we want weapons to be in line so you can run whatever the fuck you want. And it feels like now you can. Everything's viable to a degree. Like, we'll see how it pans out over the next couple of weeks.
Just going to correct you on that bit then. Yeah, you did it yourself. It's just like, well, let's give it a couple of weeks because people will figure it out.
Yeah, people do. And that's the good thing about the community. That is one of the good things about the community and I'd say the hardcore players, but everyone that plays the game, you pick up on shit that is not always found on PTS, especially with just like the PC audience playing the PTS. Not everything gets tested as much.
The PTS is great for the obvious things, isn't it? The amount of time that you actually get and the amount of time that people are willing to actually give to the PTS means that stuff will still get spotted in their live game that wasn't potentially spotted in said PTS. It might take 4 days for people to figure out that, oh, this AR is now the best. It might take people 4 weeks. Or they might have got it spot on and they're all viable, and now it's just down to personal preference as to what sort of accuracy you want, or how big an extended magazine you want, or how much fucking recoil you can handle horizontally or vertically. But there almost certainly will be some kind of outlier. But, you go to Rob's previous arguments from previous podcasts about, well, yeah, okay, you find an outlier, just change it. Either buff the other weapons or bring that one down a touch.
It's nice to see them use the graphs that the community has been using for years. Don't know if I think Marco used to do it, and there was a Reddit, was it Wobbo on Reddit? Used to do graphs of look, you didn't see the state of the game, did you? So it's like a a line and then a straight bit, a line, straight bit to put
It
show
was-
out where
it
the
was-
reload was.
Yeah, it was damage over time on a graph between all the weapons, and they were a lot more spread on the graph. And then in this PTS, they've put them all kind of in line. But
Right,
even
cool.
even Thylander said you can do the maths and see if it works, but until it's out there in the live game,
Yeah.
or not necessarily on the live game, but until it's out there being tested on the PTS, you really don't know. So even with all that maths being done. So, but yeah, SMGs have been looked at. I'm really glad SMGs are going to be back now. A lot of them have had a huge buff to them. I want to see them compete with ARs. I don't want ARs to just be the only weapon used in the game, obviously because of the Eagle Bearer and the P416. FAMAS looks like it's going to be
Good.
one of the second best guns in the game, especially with the extended mag that it's going to be having come alongside this update. Rifles do a bigger damage per shot. I'm interested to see what build Rob's going to put together with those, especially the 1886, which had how much of a buff?
20%.
20%. Shotguns, we kind of discussed that slightly. However, there is a new shotgun that apparently isn't on the PTS
Yeah, it is.
at the minute. It is on the PTS.
It is,
Rob
'cause I
managed to
found
find
it.
it. Well, of course you fucking found it. Your RNG is unbreakable, dude. Did you use it?
In the range, yeah, I did a little bit.
Did it sound good?
Yes, it did.
Did it? Because that was one of the things Thylander was like, oh, it's got this sound, good. I'll take your word for it. We'll find out when it drops next month. Marksman rifles. I mean, this is just another case of instead of nerfing, the M700 in line with the other ones, they were like, cool, the M700 is the outlier. Let's bring everything up to make it on par with the M700. Which I don't know about you. Yeah, I'm really scared. Rob, how do you think the meta's going to go with?
That means you can use.
rifles?
That means because I saw this on Widz's stream. The base damage for an M700 carbon is now the same as the M700 bolt action. So, yeah, scared.
Yeah,
because the carbon's a much better gun, but it wasn't used that much because it was lower damage.
I one-shot someone with my M700 in the Dark Zone. Now, I'm going to probably guess that they had a terrible build because mine was not built for marksman rifles at all, or rifles, or anything like that. So the weapon damage that I was putting out was probably nothing, and it wasn't even a headshot. But I mean, if that's kind of like a baseline of what it's going to be like.
You got a one shot that wasn't a headshot?
Yes. At least I think, I killed the dude like 6 times.
Wids, I was watching Wids, he did 800k on a player.
Did he?
It wasn't even a marksman rifle build. He had no marksman rifle damage on his build whatsoever.
But Luke, think of it this way. If it's going to force people into cover,
I was going to be a real dick then to say other games.
if it's going to force other people to play Destiny, well,
didn't we have a problem in the game before where everybody was just making sniper builds?
That was in conflict.
Running around one-tapping everybody. I'm pretty sure Marco was like perfecting the art of no-scoping on Division sniper builds.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they got to the point where they didn't need the headshot damage scope. They could just use... So they were essentially sniping like they did in D1. Division 1, sorry.
And I'm all for buffing weapons, but be careful.
Well, if it's going to make conflict interesting and you're not going to be able to rush at people, there you go.
I don't mind because it does take a certain amount of skill. I mean, to body shot someone, maybe not, but
yeah, that's a bit ludicrous.
It's not.
But maybe Mike's better than he thinks he is, and they wear all headshots.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I know I definitely got one headshot, and I got one. I got one body shot. But I was like,
red, Mike.
I can't remember. I was too busy laughing at the fact the dude went down with one shot. I was like, because you were in chat at the time. I was like, well, I said something along the lines of, holy fuck, I just one shot that dude. I wasn't even expecting to do it. And I guess most people, if you're in the dark zone, how much armor are you going to be running? You're going to be running between 3 and 500k. So you must be putting out some hell of a damage with those sniper rifles if they've had that much of a buff on the PTS.
I was doing it as well. Remember, my PvE raid build.
You just put on a
sniper
rifle.
On, and it was one shot on people. I had to headshot though, and if they had loads of armor, they didn't die.
Yeah, but even you were like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Because there was that team doing really well outside the dark zone, and then you came out and started one shot, and they were like, whoa, okay, let's change it up a little bit.
Yeah, and they all switched to snipers, and then it went bad.
Yeah, it went bad, which is probably what the dark zone's going to be like. Luke, sorry, dude.
No, I was just going to say, that's the thing that worries me. If you can literally just pick a build and put a sniper rifle on it and be king of PvP, it's a little bit broken, but it's PTS, so like you say, maybe builds were not particularly well optimized in terms of survivability.
But think of it the other way, if you actually properly build into it.
Yeah, but if you actually properly build into it, that's completely different to, oh, look, I've got a build on, let me pick a sniper rifle up and fucking ruin everything.
Yeah, but there's counters to it, because there was a guy running what's the hive that makes you dance around real fast? I couldn't hit him for shit.
The booster.
Yeah, I could not hit him. He was just like skating around.
Which is a good point. Yeah,
that needs looking at, in my opinion, because it made the movement almost as bad as Division 1. Not quite that bad, but it was some janky-ass looking movement going on. And again, I know it was PTS and things can change, and perhaps the PTS servers aren't quite as brilliant as the live servers, but that guy was skating around a bit rather than more fluid movement that we're used to at the moment.
There's something Thylander said is that I didn't notice this, but the hipfire, if you hipfire now, you walk. So that kind of stops him hipfiring with that. But I don't know whether that would still affect if you're under the effects of the booster.
I would assume not. I would assume that they've thought about that enough to be like, okay, we can't put the booster and hipfire together and allow that to allow you to walk faster. I mean, how do you feel about that change, Rob? How do you feel about the hipfire change?
Yeah, it's a good change.
Because it's going to basically reward players that actually aim for the head, isn't it?
It's kind of a nerf on SMGs, but yeah.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be... I don't know, maybe it's just me, but you shouldn't really be rewarded kills for just hip firing. You're literally just firing all over the place. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be accurate at all. LMGs we kind of discussed. Pistols haven't really been touched because how many of us use a pistol?
Occasionally. When I feel the urge.
More or less than your specialization?
More. It's really good at shooting baubles off of Christmas trees.
Well, there is that. Exotics have been reworked. Yes, we had a look. The Pestilence. Holy fuck. They got a hell of a buff. It had a buff from, what was it? It was like 400 damage per second up to 1200%. It was like 400% damage up to 1200%. So like that thing's been buffed. However, the PvP version remains like 500%. Merciless got buffed. Eagle Bearer got adjusted. How do we feel about the Eagle Bearer adjustment after all the shit show that happened last week, Luke?
Take it away, Rob.
It's fine.
Because it's still good?
If you use it correctly, it's still the best gun in the game.
Yeah, because it's rewarding you for being what?
Accurate.
Exactly.
How dare they?
How dare they? Yeah. Diamondback has now got a new functionality and been buffed in PvE. Sweet Dreams has.
I wonder if that's got the same 20% buff as the 1886 because it is an exotic 1886. Probably not.
Guaranteed critical hit with 20% total damage. And after 5 marked targets, you gain 50% reload, 20% total damage, and all shots fired are guaranteed critical hits for 10 seconds or 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. I think that's a bit of a typo. I'm just looking at the patch notes. Sweet Dreams has got added functionality. Chatbox has been buffed. The kills with weapon refill 75%, which is up from 20% of its magazine, and grants a buff of up to 10 seconds.
Has that also had the similar, because it's a P90, that P90's been buffed as well. So is it increased in damage? I guess we won't know until we test it.
Not sure. I can't remember if they've actually got weapons exotic. I can't see anything with regards to weapon balance on it, but it looks like I probably would think, because they didn't discuss the Eagle Bearer. I noticed that wasn't listed as one of the weapons, but because isn't the Eagle Bearer classed as similar to a P146, but it's got exotic talents? Is that right?
Yeah, well, they nerfed it 15%, and that's 50% staying.
Well, it should be similar to
but it just brought it in line.
Yeah, it should be similar to those that archetype of weapons. So I would assume that the pestilence and stuff like that matches the other guns in their archetype.
Okay.
In theory.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Luke, how do you feel about the fact that the underperforming exotics have actually got a pass and have hopefully made them more fun to use, to give them a bit more gameplay usage?
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Does that mean we'll get excited when we pick up a pestilence in the Dark Zone then now?
No, it's already got one.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be that good.
I may have got an extra 2 this week as well.
I can't believe that.
2?
Yeah. There is also a new exotic coming to the game, 3rd exotic gear piece.
Yeah, which they thought it was the first.
It's the first one. Woo!
Just goes to show how underwhelming the first 2 were, doesn't it, really?
Seeing as Rob knows what this is, I'll explain this to Luke. Yeah, well, if you were listening. So the primary function is that when you do a cover-to-cover move, you will basically create an EMP blast.
Odessa Sawyer's knee pads.
Yes, that is the name of the exotic.
One of them has bullet holes in, because didn't she lose a leg? Spoilers.
Yeah. I thought it was a really weird exotic piece to choose.
Someone who's missing a leg.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe she was wearing them when she lost a leg.
Well, I think that's what the whole... Yeah, it seems really odd to put that... I don't know. I've lost my legs. So
they do look really cool, though.
Exotic. Yeah, they do. So handy in the Black Tusk raid, maybe. It's been talked about on here before. Gear sets requiring only 4 pieces to get the maximum buff to allow combinations with exotic and higher end pieces. Kind of brings back hybrid build and hexotic. Hexo builds?
Hexo build, yeah.
Yeah, kind of brings those builds back. And the other good thing that is going to be coming in TU6 is the fact that gear sets will be part of the targeted loot progression. So if you're looking for gear sets, you can now find them out in the open world, I would assume.
But not the backpack and chests.
No, you'll find those only in the
Dark
raid.
Zone.
No.
I know.
It should have been the Dark Zone and the raid, but there we go. And just only going back...
Only the raid exclusive ones.
Yes. I'm interested to see if we have to refarm current gear pieces for the talents to be added to them, because they weren't like that on the PTS.
Yeah, if you get a new talent, you can't roll it on an old piece of gear.
Yeah, I would assume so. Just going back to that exotic, Luke, what do you think of that new exotic being added to the game with regards to the cover-to-cover move, giving you a EMP blast?
Could be really good for the existing raid, where those drones, when you're actually at what's the APC called?
Razorback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was thinking Diamondback.
When you're there, I wanted to say Diamondback as well. I knew it was wrong. When all the drones come out of Razorback, that could be really handy. Jesus Christ.
Everyone's forgotten how to spit. They
It's fine,
did
it's late.
tease that they weren't sure whether like the distance of the cover to cover move would affect the pulse. But if it doesn't, I'll be cross because I think that'll be a good thing.
The radius of said
Yes.
blast, you mean? Yeah. I was just going to ask, did they say what the radius was?
But you think that's going to work in PvP, isn't it? Cover to cover move in something like Conflict. You're going to not pulse, but you're going to EMP blast the other, like if you're close to another player, depending on the range of it. And then they're not going to be able to use skills, and then you can run in and not worry about them popping. Like if they've got a defender drone or something like that, you can basically, it's going to kill it, isn't it? Which is really cool. That's kind of a cool addition. It's interesting to see if that ends up being a part of PvP to some degree.
Meta.
Depends what you have to give up for it, doesn't it? 'Cause
Yes.
the knee pad talents off the top of my head is patience, which is kind of handy.
But then you get that
decent ones.
flat damage in cover. So you've got the new, I forgot what it is now. I said it earlier. What was it? Bollocks. Composure. The new talent for knee pads, Composure, which is...
Yeah, well, you can't have that on exotic knee pads, can you? So
No, but that's a choice you'd have to make. Either you get something from doing a cover to cover move, which would cause them to lose skills, or
You're not
you
going to be using
additional
composure
damage.
in PvP. I wouldn't anyway.
it depends, doesn't it?
No,
If you end up in cover more than often than not,
you're not going to be though.
it's flat damage, isn't it? There's no requirement for it. Whereas, like, what was it? Vigilance is you receive, you get 25% weapon damage, but the minute you start receiving damage, you're on cooldown for 5 seconds.
just with you talking about being in cover in PvP, you could have a vigilance chest, a composure knee pads, and a sniper rifle build, and pop.
Yeah. And spark. Throw a grenade at someone.
Yeah. That's Mike's favourite topic to talk about at the moment, isn't it?
Oh, no,
Spark
it's-
talent.
it's-
No.
I wish I hadn't said it.
Right. Spark to me should be. Well, do you not agree, Luke? Do you not think that Spark should be a skill attribute, or is it just me that thinks it should be that way?
Notice that all the new talents all require offensive attributes.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. It's like they've gone. I just kind of
please,
think
guys,
from a
stop stacking into armor, please. You're breaking our game, damn it.
I just kind of feel like it should be for a skill build. Like, you're not going to be putting that much damage out. So if you're using skills and you're causing damage to NPCs, then it gives you like 15% extra weapon damage for 15 seconds. It's given someone who plays as a skill player with seekers and all the rest of it additional weapon damage when their weapon damage might be lower
No,
than.
because that's you've gone completely against what you don't like. That's a hybrid build. That would make you strong at both skills and weapons. You've said in the past you don't like that.
Not enough. No, I totally get what you're getting at, but it's. I think it should be like a top up to bring you in line with the DPS player, not an addition for a DPS player that is basically, for example, stacked into obviously all offensive, maybe like offensive gear, and then they're literally just going to pop. I've done it this week. You pop Seekers or throw a grenade, and then you've got an additional 15% weapon damage on top of whatever you've stacked into. And it just seems a little
Bearing
bit.
in mind, there's probably perfected versions of all these talents, right?
The only good thing there probably is as well, because we got that on top, which is named gear and weapons,
I've seen
which are going to be coming.
the perfected vigilance. I think that's just the buff is there for longer.
It's a higher buff as well.
I thought it was still 25%.
I think it's 30.
Oh, okay.
I might be wrong, but again, that was on a screenshot from Solid Stream.
But yeah, I mean, I might think Spark needs to be on a skill build, but to be honest, still works pretty good on a DPS build. You know, you literally throw your Seekers out or grenade, you got free damage for nothing. Not even without even having to stack into your skills.
For how long?
15 seconds.
That's a long time.
That is a long time in this game.
That's potentially going to get tweaked then. Isn't it?
Yeah, because if you got
time
the
rather than
seekers that split and you could hit a whole group of 4 and then
Yes,
just mow them down.
cluster seekers. I've been doing it this week.
Well done.
That and wicked on gloves.
That's wicked, dude.
Does that turn you into a witch?
Yes, it's almost Halloween as well, so it kind of fits. Yeah, we do named items. We've kind of talked about this before. There's more coming to the game. They reckoned 36? I thought it was 35 they were talking about in total. And they're basically, we actually know what this is now. They are perfected talents of existing talents. So you will have a need to grind for them. So they're existing talents, but better. And we can finally confirm that some of these are going to be exclusive to the Dark Zone, which is a good or a bad thing, Luke?
You're trying to make him rant again, aren't you?
It's that incentive, Luke.
It's his favorite
Make PvP. Yeah, what? Incentive.
Yeah.
There's your incentive, dude. I know you love it.
Kindly move on, Michael.
What else we got? Inventory. We don't really need to talk about inventory stuff, but there's been huge kind of overhaul to inventory UI system.
The new UI system is fucking excellent.
Yes,
to be fair, it is brilliant.
I just wish they'd make selling gear better instead of having to scroll down everything. But if you can do that if you can sort it out before you even go to the vendor, that's great.
Well, you just you've got that new.
Yeah, the new
tab.
You've got the new thing.
Just sort that as new gear, and then everything you just picked up will be at the top.
Yeah,
problem solved.
You've now got 12 loadout slots.
I noticed that on the PTS. I was like, ooh.
Hello. And you can pick, we didn't talk about this, I can't remember if we were so pissed off last week or not, but you can pick loadouts in the loading screen for conflict.
And
specialization.
It changes your specialization.
Yes.
With the loadout.
Movement.
Oh, clever.
Yes. Clever girl. They've continued to work on the movement in the game, something that a lot of people have complained about. You can move better around corners, start and stops and sprints are now faster, and there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes to make things better, including if you drop down from high places. I don't know if you guys saw this on Reddit. There was somebody put up a video kind of falling from height causes you to do a combat roll at the bottom. It's kind of cool.
I like it.
I like it. We don't need to cover last week's PvP changes, but there's a few.
Can we get Luke to read these?
If you want.
He's already said no.
I think one of the best ones is the fact that Cloud Heal skills, for example, using the Chem Launcher, no longer heal other players that are hostile or rogue, should I say.
Yeah, you can heal it. You used to be able to heal NPCs as well.
You used to be able to heal rogue players.
Yeah.
Or agents that weren't rogue, if you were rogue. You get me. Rob, what's happening with Pulse?
You now get a notification when you get pulsed, which is a bit strange.
I like it because you're like, oh fuck, because he's probably got a build spec around Pulse.
Yeah, but and they've added they've changed the pulse. They've added pulse resistance to some gear pieces.
Yeah, it was the Y'all. Yeah, which is another gear piece which is exclusive to the Dark Zone. So basically, Y'all gear has now got pulse resistance. So if you stack into it, you can only be pulsed for 1 second, I believe it was. So if you get pulsed, you've literally pulsed
and you
then
use
done.
your specialization. If you get specialization tree, is it crit protection?
They've changed that, haven't they?
Yeah.
It used to be crit protection for PvP.
Oh, right, yeah, and then if you change that to PV pulse resistance, sorry.
Yeah.
You can only get 1 second pulse, which is nice.
Actually, that doesn't say crit protection for PvP. It used to say resistance to crit hits in conflict. I think it actually said. It definitely said the word conflict as opposed to PvP. So I don't know whether that actually worked in the Dark Zone or not. But if your gear is going to give you pulse resistance on it instead, you stack into it, and you can only be pulsed for a second, and maybe that answers that quote unquote problem.
How do you feel about that change anyway, guys? Luke?
I don't know. I can't see anybody stacking all into Yol gear, so that your only defense is that you can only be pulsed for a second. Because it still sounds like you'd be giving up too much. If it's exclusive to the Dark Zone and this is a Dark Zone based perk, it might be better if when you're wearing that, it grants that to your entire team rather than just you.
Oh, that would be a good change.
So then, one of your team could be the sacrificial lamb, if you like, that gives everybody such resistance to pulse, but can't do an awful lot with their build other than that.
No,
do you know what I mean?
We can't have team play. No.
But isn't that more along the lines of a gear set?
Yes.
It should be a
Also,
gear set.
Don't like the alert. It needs to be smaller and like a little icon on the screen.
Yeah,
not
but
like a big, like it looks like a Twitch alert.
Yeah, but it's nice to have a big thing going. Warning, you've been pulsed up on the screen, because like one of the things they said today is you're going to get more warnings, markers on the ground, lines, telegraphs. They've tried to make PvP counterable, or at least give you enough time to react to the things that are going on around you, which I think is really cool.
Disagree.
Well, you don't think you should have those?
No,
things?
I don't like the big freaking sign saying you've been pulsed. It, like you're supposed to, you're playing PvP. You need to be aware. Because like the only way you could tell in Division 1 was your player would like flash green or something, wouldn't it? And sometimes if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't see it. No.
So you want a system like that again?
Yeah, like.
But
that wasn't bloody obvious.
Yeah, but it wasn't obvious, was it? You only figured it out because when someone pulsed, do you know what I mean? It was only a case of figuring it out. There was never any kind of notification telling you of that in the first place. I think that's why they've done it that way, because not everybody knew. I think they're just trying to make the UI and the game in general just more accessible to everyone and anyone, which is a good thing, but then it kind of kills that side of it, I guess.
Cater into the casuals a little bit and to the farmers. I've been pulsed, right leg it.
True, but I mean, pop your booster and chase after.
Run away. In the other direction.
Luke, how do you feel about the news of the new warnings, markers, basically stuff that's going to give you a heads up of, are you going to be hit with this skill, give you like a chance to kind of react, especially in PvP? Well, this is particularly for PvP.
I kind of agree with, I think it was Rob that said it, that it's catering to the casuals a bit, but I don't think it's necessarily a terrible idea. A bit like the pulse notification, though. It depends how big and how full your screen gets, because if your screen's now full of notifications, you can't see what you're trying to dodge anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So where did all the players go? They're hiding behind the notifications.
Did you see the new pulse?
Oh, yes, I did see the pulse one, yeah. I'd not seen any of these warning you're about to get hit by seekers notifications.
I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've seen a total maximum. Well, yeah, I've seen a maximum of probably about 15 people in the Dark Zone, and at least 5 of those were solo. Yeah, and 2 of them were you guys. So it's slightly worrying. And,
I mean, Pulse it's not as widely used as it was back in the first game, so I don't know, maybe it won't be an issue.
Yeah, but the thing is, it is going to be an issue, because the chances are if someone's running Pulse, because it has no impact on anything else apart from with Spotter. Is that correct? it's part of that build. So
Well,
you know
can
the
see
minute
through walls as well. That's kind
well,
of
there
a
is
big
that as
thing.
well. It's a huge wall hack, but it kind of, if you get pulsed by another team, then you can kind of be like, oh shit, they've just got bonus damage. Let's get the fuck out of here, sort of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, credit where credit's due. They're trying new things and trying to think a little bit outside the box, aren't they? I'm not sold on how good they're going to be until I've tried it myself. As I say, I've not seen the skill notifications. I don't have as much of a problem as Rob does with the pulse notification size, but
Oh, you will.
it depends how the UI looks when your screen's full of skill notifications as well. You know, or
I'm going to
will
be honest.
is there only a set place in the UI that they show up? So, you know, you get pulse notification and then that gets overridden the next time that somebody throws a seeker mine at you or whatever. Rather than get messy, they might override each other in the same slot of the screen. I don't know.
I think I could be more pissed off depending on how shotguns turn out
Yes.
over that than over a pulse notification, to be honest. But that's just me. Yeah, and that's pretty much it with regards to the changes coming in Title Update 6. Before we move on, Thylander basically just went over and said, you know, there's probably not going to be as big of a huge balance pass in the not for a while at least, because they don't want to keep having a huge impact on the game. I think it's good timing that they're doing this, obviously with episode 2 coming out. At least there's going to be obviously new content to grind. We're going to be getting new loot from it and all the rest of it. I don't know how you guys feel about going back and grinding for gear again. Obviously with the time that you guys have both put in, myself included. Are you pissed that you've got to regrind a lot of this, or
Nope.
Are you looking forward to putting some new builds together and kind of getting back into the groove of the game again?
It's a looter shooter. What are we doing playing it if we're not looting for stuff? So
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why none of us are really playing it at the moment.
yeah, I don't understand the people that are moaning that, oh, my build's been changed again. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, but we
Fuck are you playing the game for then?
Yeah, but I feel like we always kind of have that. It's not even a positive mindset. It's literally what the game is, and the minute anything gets changed, it kind of feel like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense why you would do that, and we have like this different kind of opinion.
It's because we're not
else.
idiots.
Yeah, but the general consensus isn't idiots. I can just understand that people have put a lot of fucking time in and probably don't want to do it again. Then
Yeah, but the people that
it's
put
probably
all
not
that
the game you should be playing at that point. is it?
exactly, yeah, the people that put all that time in and then don't want their builds to change, did they never ever think that there might be a gear score increase? It's like, fuck me, you played the first game for 1, 2, 3 years that had how many different fucking gear score changes? Therefore, you had to regrind the builds again. Fucking difference does this make?
My only issue now is we've got TU6 coming out. Episode 2 is going to be released at the same time because it's been confirmed today that TU6 and Episode 2 is the same thing. So all these changes.
Take an Einhorn.
Yeah, that was. If you've even seen that film.
I kind of just wish Hamish started chewing loads of gum. Sorry.
Dead air. No, it's fine. Killed it. We got a Pentagon. We've got new specialization coming. We've got a raid coming.
Oh. Now I'm gonna get angry.
That scares me. It really scares me, and I'm really worried.
They
when
did
we're
this
getting the
last time
raid.
with the raid,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yeah. Please, if you're listening, please do not drop the raid a week or 2 after you do this. You can't do this time. It's too much of a change has happened.
They will.
You reckon?
Yeah, it'll be the week after.
Well, we would know because, today was all about, the road ahead on the stream, right?
Yeah, but they don't even know when the game's going. They don't even know when the update's going out, do they?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Like, please be careful in future what you're posting for state of the game topics, because I feel like doing that has really caused a lot of issues with the state of the game recently, don't you think?
Disagree. I think
You disagree with that?
no, because I haven't watched this week's State of the Game, but from what you two have told me is they basically went over everything that they changed last week
Oh, no, that's great. No,
Yeah,
that's
but
absolutely great.
I,
but
what
the
I'm trying to,
roadmap,
hang on, wait. What I'm trying to say is, sorry, but what I'm trying to say is that's our fault. Like, not us three, but the whole reaction that the community gave to everything that changed, they had to say something. Therefore, they said, well, you can fucking wait for what we told you we were going to talk about. It's your own fault for being a bunch of fucking crybabies.
maybe that's the case, but I kind of feel like everything was... This is all a lot better plans than it ever has been in the past. But all right, look at last week. We're getting big PvP changes. We're going to talk all about PvP. So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot there, Luke. Like,
no, because they talked about what they wanted to talk about, and then everybody spat their dummy out, me included, because the PvP news was fucking shocking. And then the PTS patch note updates came out, and everybody lost their shit over not being able to stack this and stack that, and how dare you buff this weapon and not this weapon, and blah 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 blah. I think the community managers knew that they had to address what was going on. They couldn't just gloss over it and go, yeah, we made a load of changes, but by the way, this is coming out and this is coming out, and in 6 months' time we're going to do this, this, and this, and not talk about any of it. Just look at the reaction it got from, oh yeah, last week we talked about PvP at the start of the state of the game, and everybody in chat went, what? PvP, ... You gloss over something, people start fucking moaning about it. You don't talk about something, people start moaning about it. They do, damned if they do and damned if they don't. So,
no, it's a fair point. It's just, it kind of felt like these things were all predetermined, and then we got to them, and like nothing was said beforehand. Like, a lot of people were expecting a road ahead. Okay, what's coming in episode 2 and all the rest of it. And that's fine. I don't care, because I was more excited about... For me, it makes more sense to talk about everything that we've talked about today that is going to be coming in the future, and then spend the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks on the lead up. It's probably going to be discussing.
Wouldn't have anything to talk about next week.
There is that.
Did they say at any point at the beginning of the state of the game that they weren't going to talk about the road ahead?
No.
Did they say at any point at the end of the state of the game that next week they will talk about the road
Nope.
ahead? Okay. Now they're guilty of what they're always guilty of, and poor communication. However, I still think it's all our fault.
Yeah,
Again,
we're
not us
basically
three,
we read in
No,
like, well, it's everybody.
responsibility.
Everyone reads into it more than probably they should do. We should. This is why after last week I had no expectations of there being a road ahead, because we already knew that Fredrick Thylander was already going to be on the state of the game, and he was going to. We read the patch notes, and that's kind of what we've been excited about and what we've been discussing like since last week. So I can't be let down when we know how these things are going to go now. You know what I mean?
Also, in hindsight, Thylander would have been a very strange choice to talk about things that may or may not happen in the future, as opposed to
Yannick.
As opposed to, we've got the weapons guy on stream. Let's talk about all the weapon changes that we're doing.
I will say one thing though. He did. I kind of feel a little bit better than last week. What did he do better than last week, Rob? He talked about PvP.
Yeah, but that's just direct response of what he does. Like, changing the weapons and the armor gear talents is going to have a knock-on effect.
Exactly, and this is something that I feel like we've been saying week in, week out for the last couple of weeks. If you get the build, the meta, the weapons sorted, then hopefully, I'm not saying it's going to fix everything, but it's a step in the right direction. And Luke, do you feel better, even though, okay, PvP still whatever at the minute? Do you feel like shit? Do you feel like this is a step, hopefully, in the right direction for everything PvP related?
No, I don't see what's changed from last week to this week.
With regards to builds and all the rest of it, because that is some of the problem. You don't think that's changed still at all?
I don't think it will change even 5% of what's wrong with PvP, to be honest. But that's just me.
Some of it will more than 30% of it will make PvP worse.
We'll talk about that in upcoming episodes.
I'm just still on a massive downer for PvP, because it's just the portion of the game that I want to spend the most time in, and it will be the portion of the game that I spend the least amount of time in.
It's also the case when you step away from something long enough, you see it with different eyes, don't you? Which kind of kills it as well. Okay, so before we do go, I want to ask you both, how do you feel about the game having seen the patch notes and all the changes this update are going to bring to the game along with additional content? Rob?
How do I feel?
Are you looking forward to it?
Hungry.
Are you hungry?
Mm.
Hungry for some content?
Yeah, that's it. Well done.
I answered it for you. Luke, how do you feel, dude?
I thought he was hungry because he's been talking about pies and pizza again.
Dude, burgers. Burgers in what, 3 days?
I'm actually hungry. Stop it. Right, you can go again.
Oh, right, okay. You told me to stop. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, PvE wise, I'm quite excited, to be honest with you. New content, 12 new loadouts to grind for. I'm actually, I'll be honest, I'm not going to play Division 2 until the TU6 drops, and then I'm going to be all up in it. Well, the PvE of it, anyway.
Are you telling me you're not going to play the next apparel event, Explorers?
Fuck no.
I'm going to be honest. They've changed the key system. So normally you would get a key per proficiency cache, or it was like a 50% chance. Yeah. I've been seeing on Reddit today that people have been grinding for like 9 or 10 of them, and they've not been getting keys. So I probably won't be getting.
Didn't I hear something about you having to do harder content to get them?
I think you can do the raid and other stuff. I mean, the actual apparel itself looks cool. I'm kind of pissed that you have to get the paratrooper, the trapper, and the aviator before you can get the explorer. That kind of sucks, but I can understand why they've done that because it's probably the best one.
They've been doing that since Division 1, dude.
Yeah, but it looks like basically they've adjusted it, so you kind of got to spend a bit of money this time, which kind of sucks, to be honest. I don't like that. Because I grinded for the last one, and that was like 5 sets to grind for. And even that took a long time. But I guess they got to make money another way. And that's pretty much it. Oh, there was a maintenance yesterday on the live game. I think it was update 5.2 or something along those lines. Made improvements using DirectX 12 if you have it on PC.
That's cool.
Yep.
I turned that off because it would crash every 5 seconds.
Yeah, it would also cause low frame rate in some conditions as well. They fixed an exploit which could cause players to gain an unintended amount of armor. I wonder if that's fixed in PTS as well. Maybe that's why people are running around with 500k. And Apparel Event 4 is live. So that was added as part of that maintenance. Okay, let's move on to questions and feedback. Luke, do you want to take the first question?
Not me, mister, in our Discord says, whatever the devs and CMs do, some of the Division 2 community will never be happy. Seen comments complaining today that they didn't talk about the road ahead and instead spent an hour talking about the TU6 Episode 2 update and state of the game today. And this is basically what I said like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but I do feel like there is a miscommunication, and it does need to be addressed. If you've planned something in advance, right, push it, but put it out on social media that this is what you're going to talk about.
Fuck social media. Just say it at the start of the state of the game. It would have taken 10 seconds to go, right, we've heard all your complaints and your feedback and whatever, vocal side of the community on Reddit, Twitter, whatever, forums. We're not talking about the road ahead this week. That will be next week. Instead, Fredrick's here today to talk about all the changes to the weapons and the gear and blah, 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 and see if we can give you more information on what you were complaining about last week, and go. 10, 15 seconds. But that is something that the state of the game has been guilty of since day one, isn't it? While it's an excellent tool for getting information out to us, the players, they do seem to miss quite a lot of key information from time to time.
I generally disagree with this. They did talk about the road ahead. Like, for the first 5 minutes of the state of the game, Hamish read his script of what's coming. Obviously, it's not as much detail as we'd liked, but he definitely did that. And then they did the community interview.
Yeah, but if he didn't do the community interview, there wouldn't have been a very long state of the game this week.
No. But then
It's kind of
They
like
can't
the PvP
give you
thing,
everything
though,
in
isn't
one
it? No, I know.
stream.
But also having a bit more communication up front would be better. Rob, do you want to take the next one?
I Just Chill says, have massive forgotten about skill cosmetic mods. We got the Sparkler one with the pre-order and then never heard anything about them again. Yeah, that's true, actually. There is another one that I've got for it's like a shield logo on the pulse, I think. Or a drone. Can't remember.
I haven't really thought about them that much, to be honest. I don't think I've got any. If I have,
You would have if you pre-ordered, you would have the Sparkler one.
I haven't even looked at it, to be honest.
Yeah, until I saw I Just Chill's comment in Discord earlier, I actually forgot that these were a thing. I mean, I think the devs are too busy putting out all the other fires, aren't they, to worry about skill cosmetic mods.
Yeah.
Would you spend an hour talking about TU6, which is a complete rebalancing of almost the entire game? I think skill cosmetic mods are top of that list, are they?
Maybe they're.
Although then again,
disagree.
they could be top of the PvP list for all we fucking know. So
we've just got a Apparel Event 4 over a PvP update, but there we go.
Maybe that's what the Dark Zone vendor's going to sell.
That's the incentive. That's the incentive to go back in the Dark Zone, Luke.
Or maybe we're going to get them from global events.
You can get that sweet bubblegum skin for your hive.
You can put the Manhunt fucking skin on your turret.
Is he a man or a bush? Before we move on, have either of you bought any of the skins for the specializations?
No.
I just wondered because I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Yeah, I'm not going to buy it. And that was kind of my thinking. Last question for today is from Chuck. Welcome back. Hope you had a nice holiday, dude. And he asks, for future raids, do you think 8-player fire teams are the way forward? Who's going to answer this one?
You just read it.
Yeah, because I kind of don't think you can go back on it now. I think we're too far down that road. And most people, I would assume, have a fire team of at least 4 people, so it's easy to match those 2 together at least, or at least try and find another fire team of 4 people. But then it depends how many people are playing the game. If there's not that many people playing the game, then they kind of need to be dropped down to 6. 6 wouldn't be a bad number, but I don't know. It depends what the next raid's like. Seems to be quite a DPS check through the whole lot, which actually required the use of 8 people.
Maybe it goes the other way. Maybe you have to have 12 people.
Or 16.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous, though.
You have more people in a raid than you do in the Dark Zone, yeah.
I was going to fucking say it. The look on your face, dude. Do we think we're at a sweet spot for raids, though, with regards to players? 8 players or not, Luke?
I do, but I agree with your closing comment about it depends on the future size of the player base. If you, because we've seen it. I know we stepped away from the game, but we were struggling towards the end of our raid cycle to actually fill the 8 spots, weren't we? It was like, oh, do you want to come and play the raid? No, I'm not playing it anymore. Oh, do you want to play the raid? No, I'm washing my hair. Do you want to play the raid? No, I'm going shopping or whatever.
Do you think we'll get a match-made version straight away this time?
Yes.
Actually,
I hope not, at least for a week.
Why?
Because that gives players a week or 2, because it gives players to figure out the raid on their own. Otherwise, if you make a match-made version that's easier than the proper version, you're going to know how to do it.
Yes, good idea.
So you'll figure the whole thing out. So I think there will probably be a week or 2 delay.
I'd say a month.
I don't think they'll wait. The backlash last time was absolutely massive.
Pun intended.
Oh yeah. But as always, thank you very much to everyone who sent in questions and feedback this week. I appreciate you listening. And obviously these are just our thoughts on update TU6 and the future. Let us know what you think. Robert, where can the listeners find us, dude?
You can find us over at SITREP Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as our personal accounts. Send any questions or feedback for the show to sitrepradiopod@gmail.com, or you can find us on Discord. The link will be in the show notes. We want to hear your thoughts on the news and topics we cover, so be sure to leave a comment and join the discussion in any of those places. Luke?
Please leave a review of the show using the podcast app of your choice. We really do enjoy reading them all. The feedback is excellent, and at the end of the day, it does actually help other people to find our show too. If you are brave enough to listen all the way to the very end of this show, you will hear all the juicy details about the other awesome podcasts that are available on the Mash Those Buttons network. Thank you all.
We do live stream as often as we can, so if you're interested in dropping by and chatting with us whilst we play The Division and some other games. I know Rob's been streaming Destiny 2, and you'll be streaming, I expect, Shadowkeep on the 1st of October.
Mm-hmm.
If the live servers are back up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I'm not playing that, because I don't want to sit there waiting for the servers to come up like I've done before. You can find him or all the rest of us over at twitch.tv/SITREP Radio. We have been SITREP Radio. Thank you very much for listening, agents, and we will catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sequence complete. Security protocols deactivated. Server data replaced and CPU destroyed. Terminating connection in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured. Extraction